You know, I've been doing this for 20 plus years and I love the job. Listen, I used to be a sports reporter. I did that for about 8.5 years and I love that too. And a lot of guys say, oh my gosh, being a handicapper must be so much fun. Well, yeah, until I tell you that it's a 365-day-a-year job. There are no days off. Oh, now, for some of the guys here at the site, there are a few days off, specifically right around the All-Star break in middle of July. Of course, I run the company. I run the sites. There are no days off for me. But it is, in essence, a 365-day-a-year job. Now, there are some people in this industry that like to hang up their shingle that they're going fishing right after the Super Bowl. Others do it right after March Madness. I think they're nuts. Because as I've proven to you over the past 4 months, the easiest sport to make money in is in baseball. And it's a beautiful thing because you make money in baseball and then you start off the football season with a huge bankroll of which you made that money from somebody else. Isn't that great? And I just did it for you over the past 4 months. But listen, today is one of those rare exceptions. There's no baseball. There's no college football. Basketball doesn't start for another week or so. And the two NHL handicappers here at the site, both of whom have gotten off to great starts, Dom Chambers and Gabriel DuPont, are both taking passes on the limited hockey card. So it's an off day. And everybody here at the site is celebrating because it's nice to have an off day in the middle of the football season. Now, what it means to those of you that have long-term packages, either with handicappers like myself or have all access or capper consensus packages here for all the handicappers at the site, well, customer service today will automatically add an extra day to your individual packages. It's that fair and it's that easy. So everybody will be back in action on Thursday when all your college football and NFL action resumes. Of course, in the NFL tomorrow night, a tough game as the injury-riddled Philadelphia Eagles, losers of 2 in a row, visit the New York Giants, and we'll talk about that on Thursday's card. But today, I thought it would be interesting to take a look at how the NFL season has broken down from a point spread perspective and to give you a quirky little stat that I've always followed over the past 5 or 6 years, which is interesting, which hits at an 80 to 85% clip I have found over the first 11 to 12 weeks of the season, which sounds like it'll make you a ton of money, but there's an interesting twist, and it's not that easy. But first, just a little bit of warning. You know the NBA season is about a week or so away. And I'll just tell you what I tell you at the start of every season, no matter the sport. The first 3 weeks of the season, it's the easiest time to make money because the odds makers don't have any more clue of what to expect from a team at the start of the season than you or I. It's the only time that we have the advantage over the odds makers because the lines are always going to be the softest. They're never going to be that sharp. And in the NBA, those lines actually stay soft for the first 2 to 3 weeks and really for the first 5 or 6 games for the team. So it may even extend a little further because preseason games, they're absolutely worthless. They're just as meaningless as NFL preseason games. They're just as meaningless as 6 weeks of spring training in baseball. They mean nothing. So what you're going to find is powerhouse teams like the Warriors, like the Thunder, the heavy favorites, they're not going to be laying as much wood. And teams that may shock you early in the season because of incoming free agents or improved rookie classes, well, you're going to get some great prices because they're going to be getting too many points. So it's something to look forward to. The only twist that I will warn you about, difference in the NBA in the first couple of weeks of the season as opposed to like the NFL or opposed to baseball is this, that you have to be aware of the standard factors that you have to put into your handicapping principles when it comes to the NBA, whether it's here in October or whether it's in the middle of March. You have to look into teams that are playing 3 games in 4 nights, teams that are playing back-to-back games on the road, teams that are ending lengthy road trips of 4 or 5 games, teams that also have look-ahead situations. These are the things, the mitigating circumstances you always have to keep in the back of your mind when you're handicapping the NBA. It's why the NBA is a tough sport sometime to handle to get a handle on, because you have to really focus. And it's kind of like baseball. Listen, baseball is an easy sport to make money on, and I do it all the time. But it's because I'm willing to make a commitment for 6-7 months. The NBA is the same thing. It's a drag, man. And it's a drag because there's football going on, NFL and college. Then you got college basketball coming on here in another month. So it's not like you can just cherry pick and look at the NBA casually here and then. You got to really focus for the entire period from now right through the playoffs. Just a word of warning, but hey, again, this is what I do 365 days a year. So let's talk about the NFL. What happened this past week? Gee, the underdogs went 8-6-1 against the spread, and 6 of those puppies won outright. Over the past 4 weeks, the underdogs have gone 32, 24, and 2. And 21 of those 34 underdogs have won outright. Now, the dogs have been barking. But everything is cyclical. Or another way to say it is that nothing stays the same in the NFL. Just because the dogs have been barking doesn't mean it's going to continue. I think the biggest mistake gamblers make, and a lot of handicappers in this business, is they let yesterday's outcome affect how today or tomorrow is going to play out. They let it influence them too much. It's no different than playing the stock market. Just because a stock or a mutual fund did this last year or the past 3 years doesn't mean it's going to do that tomorrow, next year, next month. You have to put yesterday out of your mind. Yeah, so the underdogs have paid off the last 4 weeks. Yes, there are 8 games over 500. Yes, 21 of those 32 dogs have cashed out. And what does that mean for this week? Absolutely nothing, because you have to examine every game as a separate entity, and you have to put the past out of your mind. Because I'm telling you, just because the dogs have actually dominated 3 of the past 4 weeks doesn't mean anything, because the favorites could go on a roll 3 of the next 4 weeks. Just a word of warning. Here's something else. Let's take a look at your Thursday night, your Sunday night, and your Monday night breakdowns. Thursday night, well, we've got a split. Favorites have covered 2, dogs have covered 2. There's been 1 push. Interestingly enough, the 2 dogs, yeah, they won outright. Sunday night, the dogs are 3-1-1, and 2 of those 3 dogs have won outright. Monday night, the favorites are 4-2, and those 2 dogs, yeah, they won outright. But it is kind of interesting because, you always hear, oh, Monday night dogs. You got to play the dogs on Monday night. The dogs are the way to go. But historically, if you go back to like 1993, you'll find that the underdogs and the favorites on Monday night are almost at a dead even split. There is absolutely nothing that supports that myth other than the hysteria that when a couple of big dogs cash in on Monday nights, everybody repeats that myth and they think it's like a Bible verse. It amazes me over the years, but hey, whatever turns people on. Okay, let me get to the statistical twerk that I've followed over the past few years. If you can pick the straight-up winner, you can get the point spread winner. And over the first 11 or so weeks of the regular season, I have found over the past 5 or 6 years, it is about an 85% play. Here's the deal. So far this season, the straight-up winner has cashed at an 83.3% clip. The straight-up winner versus the spread is 60, 12, and 5 through the first 5 weeks of the season. That's right. The straight-up winners have gone 60, 12, and 5 against the spread in the NFL. They went 12, 2, and 1 this past week. Yes, the Rams and the Panthers were the only ones that failed us. The Panthers against the Giants won and did not cover. The Rams at Seattle won and did not cover. 12, 2, and 1 this past week. 60 wins, 12 losses, and 5 pushes on the season. 83.3% clip. And again, I have found, this is just something I started tracking about 5-6 years ago, generally through about week 11 or 12, this will hit at about an 85% clip. And you're going, oh my God, Al, this is the easiest thing in the world. This is going to make us a fortune. Why aren't we all making tons of money? Because if it was easy, that easy, just to pick the straight up winner every single week, guys, you'd all be joining me. We'd all be living in Monte Carlo. We'd all be rich. We'd all be effing millionaires, but it just ain't that easy. But it is a cute statistical quirk. And we'll update it as the season goes on. So again, there is no action here for this Wednesday card. But I'll join you again on Thursday, and we'll look to make more money. Good luck, everybody.